Good morning. I'd like to remind everyone, please, that if the bell rings during the course of the assembly, to please remain seated and in your classrooms, and we'll dismiss you at the end. It is a pleasure to welcome you to the Veterans Day Assembly. I'd like to welcome our local vets over here to the right who have joined us for the day, staff members who have served in the various branches of the military, and any other guests in the room. Also, thank you to all in attendance who have had families serve or are currently serving. We are joined today by the Burlington Edison High School Navy Junior ROTC, presenting the colors. Presenting for us today are Color Guard Commander Chief Petty Officer Zillan Bowling, Cadet PO1 Arieli Aviles and Mackenzie Schooler, and Cadet PO3 Isaiah Taylor. We will also be joined by the Mount Vernon High School Choir singing our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. If you'll please stand respectfully while our colors are being presented and remain standing for the, for the national anthem. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star span free? Of the brave.
Grenade, cut. Order. Color. Grenade, cut. Right. Face. Forward. Arms. Forward. March.
Thank you. Complex, and he's been there since 2015. In his free time, he enjoys reading a good book. His favorite book of all time is still The Count of Monte Cristo, thanks to Miss Lewis. He also noted that his favorite class while at Mount Vernon High School was acting with Mr. Zickler. His favorite sport is hockey, go Kraken. His absolute favorite, however, is his daughter, Johnny Renee, who is almost 3, He says she is super fun and she got all of her energy from him. Please welcome Nathan Scott.
Good morning, Bulldogs. All right, that's weak. Good morning, Bulldogs. All right, that's a lot better. Thank you, Christy, for a great introduction. All right, we got that kicking? Okay, cool. Can we go next slide? Let's go blast from the past here. All right, there's my senior night. I think I figured out the hairdo now. I used to have this long hair thing. I think, I wanted that hippie look from the 70s, but couldn't really figure it out. So there's me, my senior night. Next slide, Jim. All right, so I was voted class clown. I'm not really that funny. I just do funny things sometimes. Sometimes during combat, cracking jokes at the right time. I felt like I came through in the right time for my guys there. All right, I, like you all, was and am and will forevermore be a Mount Vernon Bulldog. Thinking back on that, 12 years, it's a shorter amount of time, but it's a long amount of time. And being honored to be the Veterans Day speaker, I had to reminisce and think, why did I join? I would say I joined out of desire to help people, the craving of being challenged, and the duty to honor family tradition. I got all of these, and as you will see, so much more. Like some of you, I was an avid athlete, being part of the football, wrestling, and track teams. I was a pretty average athlete, nothing spectacular, but I was pretty in shape when I went to the recruiter. And, he's like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. And so usually when you go to the recruiter, you can get lucky and you can ship off right away. But when I signed my contract, they're like, you got 3 months. And so I'm like, okay, how am I going to challenge myself? What is my next challenge going to be for myself? So who here has watched Band of Brothers? Some of you, maybe during Veterans Day, if you get the chance, I think it's on Amazon Prime, stuff like that. It's a great show. During the first episode, they talk about Currahee, and they like referencing the 3 miles up, 3 miles down. And so I did some research and around Mount Vernon. So what would be 3 miles? So basically from Mount Vernon High School to Little Mountain, that's about 3 miles. So for 3 months, I ran that 3 miles up, ran that 3 miles down to get in the best shape of my life. I thought, until I got to boot camp. I definitely can't run that 3 miles down. No. Okay, Marine Corps boot camp is everything you have seen or heard and so much more. The overall goal of boot camp is to break you down physically and mentally to the bare bones and build you all the way back up to be part of the team. You get rid of the complete I. There's no more Nathan Scott. It is this recruit. It is recruit Scott. The complete selflessness and sacrifice for the team. That is the overall goal. Without going into too much detail more than that, by the end of the 13 weeks of boot camp, I was definitely in the best cardiovascular shape of my life. So right out of that, you don't just go to, at least nowadays, you don't just go to your assigned duty station. So you got to go to your schools. So like I was a radio operator, so I went to the radio operator school, which is in 29 Palms, and there's nothing to do in 29 Palms, but it's all good. So I got to my unit, and I just turned 19, and I was jacked. I was excited. We'd been in war at that point since, I was 10 years old. And I remember my staff sergeant, he clear as day, was just like, all right, who wants to go to Afghanistan? And I'm just like, I do, Staff Sergeant. And he probably just thought I was a knucklehead or something like that. But he put my name down. And some people are going to ask, why would you sign up for war? Well, for the Marine Corps, for the Marines, that's our Super Bowl. And that's our next great adventure. We want to get that challenge. Okay, so I was talking about earlier how I was a radio operator. It's kind of funny. So you watch the war movies, and yeah, I was that funny guy with the 6-foot whip on my back. It's a great occupation for a 6'3" guy, but it all worked out. So there was only 3 of us in our whole company, so I was always running around trying to fix all the radios and all the GPS components on the trucks. It really made our 7-month deployment, it really made it fly by. Also, what made it fly by, I was part of a platoon in a company with outstanding leaders and troopers. That first deployment, we were completely bought into our mission. Our mission was to resupply all the forward units. What forward units? That would be the infantry units in the greater southwest area of Afghanistan. So we spent about 80% outside the wire. What's the wire? The wire is that's the main base, and you don't really want to be on the main base too much because that's just it's basically you're away from home. Your mind wanders back to home. When you're completely on mission, you're just dialed in that mission. There was no doubt in anybody in our platoon or company's mind that everybody was 100% bought in. We were more than just a platoon. We were, you'll see back in these photos, we were always hanging out when we were on a mission. We were completely a family. And I don't think I'll be as close or closer to anybody in my life than I was with those guys. I had another tour. I came back for about 6 months. Staff sergeant comes up, goes, "Hey, who wants to go to Afghanistan again?" My hand shoots up. That's why volunteering, it's a great thing, because at the time it sounds like sometimes it's not the greatest duty, but you'll get great things out of it. So my second tour was not as eventful as my first one for sure. It was a much different leadership style with a completely different mission. But with good people, with hard times, good people, anybody can get through anything, for sure. My favorite part of the service was probably my last 3 or 4 years when I was the senior guy. I was the platoon sergeant for S6, so for my vets, S6, I was communications. And platoon sergeant, it's amazing to see a freaking 19, 20-year-old private where they know nothing, and then you build them up to that leader of an E3, leader of an E4, and then by the time you're cycling out, they're getting to that E5. And that's kind of like the legacy part of the military. Your legacy is always going to live on in those troopers you trained, and then they're going to train somebody else, and they're going to train somebody else, and that's the legacy of the Marine Corps. Being in the service gave me the amazing experiences that I would have never had. In the Marine Corps, it has everything. So I met somebody from Anchorage, Alaska, and then somebody from Puerto Rico. The cool thing about Puerto Rico, it's actually, there's a unit down in Puerto Rico, and they're the only authorized Marine Corps unit where they're allowed to speak Spanish as their first language. So that just shows you how the Marine Corps does create equity throughout the whole Marine Corps. So during the Marine Corps, I truly learned what equity, diversity, inclusiveness, and respect truly means throughout the actions I got to serve with and serve around. I was privileged of traveling the world, getting to see different cultures and ways of life. There's going to be some pictures back up there, and I don't know if there's any other villages, but Afghanistan's a completely different way of life than America. They don't have high school. They don't have middle school. They don't have a built up, it's all about the tribe there. So whatever tribe you're born into, whatever way of life they do. So think about, you're looking through your textbooks or Googling, look up Middle Ages villages. And that's honestly, Afghanistan's not too far off. You'll roll through a little village and they'll have their little bazaar, and you can be like, "Oh, what do you guys want for lunch, boys? You want a chicken?" And you got a live chicken, and well, they'll take care of business, and you got chicken for lunch. During traveling the world, I think my favorite my favorite place to my stop. I did about an 8-week NATO operation in Latvia and Lithuania. If you don't know where that's at, it's right by Russia, and the people there just were amazing, just very well receiving of Americans. I think it was 2018. When was FIFA World Cup in Russia? Was that 2018? Yeah, 2018. So the World Cup was going on, and over there it's like everything shuts down for the World Cup. And so you'd go to the middle. I was in Riga, which is like their old city, and the whole town folk, like everybody comes out and everybody's just having a great time and watching the World Cup. And I really appreciated that side of the community that they had over there, and that's something, I wish we had a little more here. I would say through all those travels, human beings are definitely different, but we all have similar desires of fulfillment, happiness, and passion. Being in the military, one of the great perks is when you get out, you can go on the GI Bill. So, you can talk to your recruiters about that, but it's basically 100% paid, and you're getting paid, a stipend. So, like, I was able to rent out a little apartment and go to school and eat food while going to school for free. And that's definitely led me, without the Marine Corps, I would not be in the position I am today, supervising a correctional facility. It has great benefits and great pay to support both myself and my daughter. With my past, my present, and my future, it is my number one goal to ensure that my daughter is given every opportunity in her future that I never had. I was asked, how can you honor vets? After deep thought, thank you and handshakes, they're all nice. The parades are great. But I think us vets want something a little more than that. We want you to live life to the fullest. We want you to do hard things and set hard goals and get after them. We want you to treat people with respect. You are the next generation of leaders, next generation of mothers and fathers, next generations of teachers and first responders. Heck, we might have a Nobel Prize winner among us. We want you to live life with passion, with joy, with happiness. Each one of us has something truly unique to offer the bounds of life, and your job is to find it and use it for the greater good. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy your Veterans Day off. Maybe just use a little of that time to ponder on how you can make that difference. You all can. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. To close our assembly today, we will have Mr. Rivera and Mr. Ordonez play taps. That closes our assembly for today. Those of you that are in the cafeteria, if you will please return to your classrooms with your advisor, and everyone else remain for the bell in the classrooms. Thank you.